In the State of the Nation address recently, I reminded you of the 3 historical missions of the African Revolution. I reminded you of the 4 ideological principles of the NRM and of how the Ugandan economy has not only grown from US dollars 1.5 billion in 1986 to now US dollars 55 billion by the exchange rate method, but also to US dollars 180 billion by the PPP method. I think the economists should get time and explain to you this difference between GDP by the exchange rate method, which is what the minister was talking about here, and GDP by the PPP method, the purchasing power parity method. The exchange rate method shrinks our economy because we are still importing items from abroad unnecessarily. We are importing unnecessarily. If you look at the size of our GDP by the PPP method, it is now 2 times the size of the South African economy when Museveni Mandela took over the leadership of that country in 1994. Because at that time, the GDP of South Africa was about 80 billion, 89 billion or something. So if you use the PPP method, the GDP of Uganda now is 2 times the size of the South African economy by the time the Mandela took over government there. In the next few years, for me, I'm not waiting for the 2040, because they keep talking about the 2040. We shall catapult the economy to the size of the USD 500 billion. Why am I sure of this? It is because much of our economy today is comprised of raw materials that are in value nominally 10% of the value of the final products. By adding value to coffee, maize, forest products, minerals, etc., our economy will grow exponentially. You have seen the exports in this year. They grew by 38%. You saw the figures there, which the minister was showing you. Exports, export earnings in 1 year from $4 billion to $7 billion. Rate of growth 38%. Because we are just underutilizing everything. This is the problem. Uganda importing furniture. You can imagine that? Importing furniture from Dubai, from India. Mama Janet here had to fight with those wonderful people in the Ministry of Education who were determined to buy furniture from India. Imagine, furniture in Entebbe also takes money outside. Money is taken to buy dead people's clothes from outside. M2, that's what the Banyankore call clothes of dead people. They are called M2. So that's what we spend $800 million on imported textiles. The shirt I am putting on is made here, 100% Ugandan. This shirt here. Why should we import textiles? We had some issues with the traders here, the people they call traders. What they call traders are the importers. How about, there was a man called Warusi Mpanga, In the 1950s, he was buying cattle from the Ankole area and bringing them to Kampala. He was not an importer. He was an internal distributor. According to the traders in Kampala, that one is not a businessman. The businessman is the one who is Okusaka, who is buying from outside. This slave mentality must go away. I'm not a slave myself. I have never accepted a slave dependency mentality. That's how we were able to lead our revolution. So this importing is what is creating the discrepancy. The economy is bigger, $180 billion, but if you use the exchange rate method, it comes to 55 billion. It shrinks. But if you solve that, the size in figures will be much bigger than it is now. We have the electricity, and we shall continue expanding the generation. I want to thank the minister. Really, he showed everything here in detail. And I'm glad you gave him a standing ovation. I think you may go to heaven because of showing gratitude. Entasime Korachi? Entasime Korachi? The one who does not thank, nobody will give him again. We have the electricity, and we shall continue expanding the generation and the transmission. The private sector is the main engine of growth and transformation. We already have a well-educated population that is easy to skill and is also innovative. As you saw, the science, the knowledge economy. Those are our young people who are doing all those scientific innovations. In order for the economy to grow, the only thing I can add on now, because I don't want to give a long speech, in order for the economy to grow even more, we need to be competitive in the products we produce. And the minister conveyed my message very emphatically, which I will repeat at the end of this short speech. But in order, we need to be competitive in products and services we produce. Our products and services must be cheaper and of better quality than products from other countries. In order to achieve that, we need affordable electricity, which is already being worked on. Because for you to be competitive, you need cheap electricity. And we are working on that, as you saw here. We need low-cost money for the wealth creators, which is already available in the forms of PDM, Emyoga, and UDB loans. I really want to render irrelevant these money lenders and all these people who suck our people. We shall continue putting money in PDM, in Emyoga, in UDB, so that the people who want wealth creation have soft money, money which is not very expensive. Labor, so we have electricity is going to be cheaper. Money for wealth creation will be cheaper. Labor is still not expensive. However, and those are the crucial factors when you are producing a good or a service, the cost of electricity. the cost of the money you borrow, the labor costs, the wages which are being paid, the salaries which are being paid to the workers. However, to further handle the issue of the cost of production that render products and services uncompetitive, correct this in my speech, this should be uncompetitive. We must reactivate rail and water transport for cargo. This is what is missing now. Electricity is being worked on, money for borrowing, for production, not for importing. We are not giving you soft money for importing. If you want to import, you go to the money lenders. You go to these other fellows, the commercial banks. But if you are a wealth creator, we have money for you. The cost of labor is still low. But how about the cost of transport? Transport, not for people who are going to nightclubs. Those can pay whatever cost they are charged. It's up to them. If you don't want to pay, you stay home. So when I say the cost of transport, I'm talking about transport of goods, cargo. That's why the railway is our next big target. Railway for the goods, and especially for the goods, even people, but mainly for cargo. We must reactivate rail and water transport for cargo. We have repaired the old meter gauge from Malaba to Kampala and also from Tororo to Gulu Pakwach. We are going to start building the SGR, the standard gauge railway from Malaba to Kampala and Kampala to Mpondwe to Kasese. Later, we are going to expand the SGR, the standard gauge railway, to Gulu Nimule. The railway will transform our capacity to create wealth. Because once the railway is fully operational, then transport of goods from here up to Mombasa will be cheaper. From here up to Dar es Salaam, from here up to South Sudan, from here up to Congo, it will be cheaper. It will also save the roads, because this crowding you see on the roads by the heavy trucks, it is because the railway is not working. When the railway starts taking off the trucks from the road, then the pipeline, because we are also making the pipeline for petroleum, because now the road has got passengers, they're on the road, you have the cargo on the road, you have the petroleum products on the road. That's why the road is under such pressure. The railway and the pipeline for the petroleum will solve that problem. That means only passengers or light trucks will remain on the road. It will cause less pollution and consume less fuel. Because on the road you spend a lot of fuel stopping, because of the slow movement. We are moving forward on the issue of introducing electric cars and electric bodabodas, as you saw here. So, these are the two additional strategic interventions: the railway and the pipeline for the petroleum products. Now, the other strategic intervention we need to stabilize our economy forever is irrigation for agriculture. The minister talked a bit about it here, but we need to do more emphasis. Because you know we are lucky, we have rains, but sometimes the rains delay, or sometimes you have less rains. Then you get a crisis, lack of food. So in order to remove that occasional disturbance, we must have supplementary agriculture arrangements. Much of the time we shall have the rains, but if the rains don't come, there is standby irrigation. With this, plus what I said in the State of the Nation address and what has been said in the budget, there is nothing that will impede us. Because you remember in the State of the Nation address, I addressed the issue of regional integration to solve the issue of the market. The NRM is a mission-led organization. We don't come into politics to improve our CVs. Former this, former that, please. We are not here to improve our CVs. No, please. We started fighting from the 1960s because we had historical missions. We had aims. That's why we cannot move. We must achieve these aims, and we have achieved them, as you can see. We have achieved some of them. You heard the minister telling you that economy he was talking about, which he presented here, was all minus our petroleum, which is about to come online. When that comes online, the story of Uganda will be a totally different one. In a short while to come, our petroleum will start coming from the ground. This will enable the government to earn an extra $2 billion per year, assuming today's prices. Even if the prices remain the way they are now, when our oil starts coming out of the ground, the government, not the whole economy, the government alone, will be having an extra $2 billion per annum. This is apart from other income streams for the country. This does not include the money to private groups and so on, but to the government. This oil money will never be used for consumption. If the NRM is in charge, we shall never use this oil money to import perfumes and whiskey and what have you. Never. It will never happen. It will only be used for infrastructure and science development. Therefore, strategic items like the railway and the irrigation will be funded by us directly. So this business of borrowing, of this and that, will stop. For the infrastructure, for the railway, the power stations, and the science infrastructure, we shall use this oil money to do that, but not to import those takatakas, no. Those ones you continue the way you are doing now. People who do not bother to listen to our message keep talking of poverty, lack of jobs, etc. You had I'm very happy the minister and his staff, finance, are now finally capturing properly the message of the NRM. Because we have been having problems with them, the way they present things, the way they talk. Sustainable development, what is that? What does it mean? One time I asked, what does a sustainable pregnancy mean? That somebody is pregnant sustainably, never produces a baby. Nature provides that you have quantitative growth and qualitative change. Pregnancy, after 9 months, becomes a baby. A baby, after some time, changes into something else. That's how life is. You cannot have a static situation indefinitely. So we are very clear that prosperity means an adult person participating in producing a good or a service and selling it. And when we say participation, he may be the owner of the product, or he may be an employee, but he will participate in producing a good or a service and selling it. And if you do that with the Chibaro, with the proper mathematics, you will get prosperity. That's what I've been telling you. And we have been telling you, and the minister has now repeated emphatically, I'm very happy with finance now. I have nothing useful to add. And he has told you that the sectors where prosperity is are 4. Commercial agriculture with the Chibaro, Chura, Aymar, Otita, with the mathematics, commercial agriculture. Secondly, manufacturing and artisanship. Thirdly, services. And fourthly, ICT. So in those areas, that's why you will get prosperity. You should choose to go to be somewhere as a wealth creator or an employee of the wealth creator. Now, those who bother people who do not bother to listen to our messages keep talking of poverty, lack of jobs, etc. The 4 sectors of commercial agriculture, artisanship and manufacturing, services and ICT, if utilized in the manner recommended by the NRM ever since 1995, will create so many jobs that we will exceed the job levels of Uganda. Uganda doesn't have enough once we develop our full capacity. Uganda will not have enough workers. And by the way, this one happened during the time of the British, when they introduced a few activities here like coffee and cotton and sugar. That's how Africans from Rwanda, from Burundi, from South Sudan. That's how they came here. That small economy, money economy, or during the British time, created so many jobs that the internal people were not enough. That's why our brothers had to come from Rwanda, from Burundi, from South Sudan, to work here. So even now, if we all become wealth creators in the 4 sectors, there will be so many jobs. I've given the example of Mr. Nyakana in Fort Portal, using 1 acre to employ 15 people. And we calculated that if 7 million people did that, we would create more jobs than the whole population of Uganda now. But as of now, we already have 922,000 people employed in manufacturing. Show those factories again if you have them. Show them on the screen, the factories. Those are now. These are all new factories. In 1986, we had only 80 factories when we went to the UMA, Uganda Manufacturers Association. We now have more than 8,000 like those. These are already employing 922,000 people and something. The whole of the public service, army, police, civil service, 480,000. So the factories are now employing 2 times the number of people working in this public service. So those jobs, the jobs are there, but you must be qualified for them by doing the right thing. All those are jobs. New jobs, you can see all of them are brand new factories. They are not all. This is the factories now, giving us 922,000 jobs. The services, the hotels, the tourism, the transport, the banks, they are now employing 5 million people. 5 million. Look at show that factory, the one of the factory. The one which was there now. Put it back. The one which was showing, those are hotels. Go back to the one you had showed. Was a factory where workers were seated. No, there's another one which was bigger. There was a bigger one. Anyway, they are all the same. You can see how many people. Jobs are there. Look at that group now. Look at all those are young people. Jobs. Just talking. They don't listen. And then they have their wonderful papers, like the wonderful, what do you call it, monitor, that monitor group. Ovyo hao, wajinga hao. They are like enemies of Africa. The other day, I saw them when they tested Karuma Power, 600 megawatts. I think there was some blackout or something. So they were celebrating in their paper monitor. You see, the network, the transmission network cannot handle the power. And I had had that opinion. It's very interesting to see how the enemies link up, enemies of Africa. So the logic of the monitor is like what I used to hear with the government, some of the civil servants who are like on the side of monitor also. They were saying, but if we have the power station at Karuma, how shall we evacuate the power? If you can't evacuate it, have the factories near there. They can all be around Karuma, nearby, if you don't have to carry it far away. When Jinja, Owen Falls Dam, was opened by Queen Elizabeth in 1954, the electricity was only in Jinja. That's why the factory is concentrated there, the original factory. We didn't have electricity in Mbarara. We didn't have Kabari. We didn't have. But it was enough that it was in one part of Uganda and all the factories congregated there. That's a step forward. If the electricity is there, if you can't distribute it far away, let the people use it from nearby. That's not a problem. That's a step forward. It's not something to mourn about and demonize. Now, the ones employed in services, the 5 million, 40,000 of them are employed in ICT. Then 66,000 are employed in mining and quarrying. Now, this is just endozo. Endozo is a word for when somebody gives you something to taste. In Ntungamo, at the trading center, if you found the women selling local beer, you could say, Mbanze Mundoze, give me the jaribu first, the taste, let me taste. He tastes this one, it's not good. But by the time he has finished 6, he's drunk, and he says, all the beer is bad. So here, what we are showing you, you show the hotels. You are started showing the hotels, the services on the picture. All those are employing people. And here in my small speech, I also have those pictures there. I have those pictures. Therefore, I want to repeat what the minister said. Ugandans wake up, work. The work, the wealth, the prosperity is in the 4 sectors: commercial agriculture, artisanship and manufacturing, services, and ICT. The capital to help you go into any of these sectors is already available in UDB, PDM, Emioga, etc. If the money which is there now is not enough, we can add more. But start. Now, the only remaining problem is corruption. As I said the other day, We are going to stamp out that corruption. It's really amazing how people do not see. NRA is a very, very powerful force. I don't know how anybody thinks he can play around with it. We are very soft. We use soft methods. We never force anybody. We always talk to. I am like a pastor, preaching. Repent, you are going to go to heaven. But they don't know. I don't know why they forget that we have got a lot of capacity, a lot of power, which we shall use if necessary. I really can't get it. Because these corrupt people insult our heroes. The other day, we were in Mpenja celebrating Heroes Day. Now those heroes there in Mpenja, we were told there were 250 skulls of dead people. They are there in just that village. Now, in the whole of Uganda, we lost 800,000 people killed. 800,000. In Ruero, we gathered 30,000 skulls. There were 70,000. So, this sacrifice, that's how you are here, you fellows. Excellency President, Excellency Vice President, Right Honorable this, Right Honorable that, His Lordship this, all those powerful people, Honorable, I don't know what, they are all here. On the blood of our people. You heard them when we were in Mpenja, they were still talking about Akasimo, their small, this and that. They sacrificed and we are here. But you come, you get a chance to lead. Instead of helping people, now you start taking away the little which could help them. This is really amazing. Now, in so doing, you delegitimize yourselves, because you see, the Ugandans are very dangerous. When they see that you are not honest, they just leave you. But one day, they will get a chance to avenge on you. That's what happened with the groups we had here. When we got independence, all those young people, we are all young people. Mutesa was 39 years old, Obote was 35, Kakonge was 26 years old. They were all young people. Ibinjira, Nechon, they were 28, they were all young people. Uganda was in their hands, just free gift. But see what happened. Amin was 39, he was a young man. I was like their smaller brother, I was 18 that time myself. That's why I know all of them very well. But you could see how those young people messed themselves up and how they ended up. They lost legitimacy. So when we came on the scene, we had studied all this, and we could not afford this. Now, at that time, what we dealt with was the misbehavior of the army, because that was one of the biggest problems at that time. The army Nantagambako. They have their word, this one inch of ours, Nantagambako. I don't know how you translate that. How do you translate it in English? The untouchable. The army was untouchable. But the Fronasa said no. For us, we can build a disciplined army. And we started, and the army was disciplined. Then in Semuto, 1982, 2 of our drunk boys went to the village and killed 3 villagers near Semuto. One of the boys was called Zabroni. So they killed people in Semuto. That was really the boundary. Whether NRA was to survive or be written off by the people. So we arrested these people, these boys, Zabroni. He was actually a good boy, but he was fond of drinking. I didn't know him well, but I had not heard anything specifically very bad about him. So we tried them. And the case came to the High Command. The other day, the Right Honorable Speaker was calling me former Speaker, which of course I was for 10 years. But I was also a Chief Justice some time ago. So, in the High Command, we had somebody who had studied law at Makerere, a man called Jim Muhezi. Then he told us in the meeting that, you see, what killed the people in Semuto, Mulule, the place is called Mulule. What killed the people in Mulule was not Zabroni. It was the beer inside Zabroni. So what do we do now? How do we separate the beer from Zabroni? Because Zabroni was a Chidomora carrying beer, which made him kill people. So what do? We had to shoot those children, those young people. Shoot them in public. This is how the NRA was built. Because when we did that, the Baganda said, Bano Barinamazima. And that was the end of all this group. UFM of Kaira, because they were talking Buganda, they were in those things. The Wananchi could not listen because they had seen Amazima. Ntibano Barinamazima. These are the people of the truth. So therefore, I want you people, especially with the Africans. I'm very glad CJ is now talking of the alternative justice, which is really the indigenous justice. Because this is justice of the wigs and all that, when you sit there, some of it is, for instance, with the African people, the problem of murder. You kill my brother, I must revenge. I'm duty bound to revenge or kora. Because if I don't, the spirits will kill me of my brother. My brother's spirit, for whom I did not revenge, will go against me. So the only way you can escape revenge is Okaraba. You go back, and for the Africans, we have got restorative justice. It can be punitive, retributive, but it is also provides for restorative, to say, okay, please, don't revenge me. Let's sit down. One of our people killed your brother. Let us solve this. Like, for instance, I still have a date with the clan of the late Colonel Tengora Machodwogo. You remember he was killed by our soldier. I must make peace with the clan on behalf of the army. I must make peace with the clan. Otherwise, they will just keep quiet. You are powerful, you are president, excellency, what? Yes, but they will never forget. They will never forget. So, when I went there, I said we are going to do, the Banyankoro call it Okarawa. So, murder, rape, that is an unforgivable sin. It must be sorted out. It must be fully accountable. Other things like fighting in the bar, what, they mix up things. There are things which are very serious. Murder, rape, corruption now. Corruption is very, 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 very dangerous. And don't involve me in your struggles with the commissioners and so on. Those are another matter. But corruption. So these three, murder, rape, must be fully accounted for and promptly. So therefore, you should be very careful with some of these concepts. Some of them foreign, but some of them distorted. Like bail. You emphasize bail. Why do you emphasize bail? Why don't you emphasize trial so that we get the truth? That's what you should emphasize. Because when you talk of bail, you are playing in the hands of the enemy. The Banyankore will say, when the Banyankore said that, we are finished. He spent one night and came back. There was nothing, in other words. So he would not see your justice. You're talking justice that freedom in the Constitution, what? That's not, that's a foreign concept. It's not our concept. Our concept is a dog that steals pays with its back. So you must handle it quickly and decisively. Those concepts are very dangerous because they separate us from the people. There is another one. There's another one which says, I can come to court and keep quiet. Really? That I keep quiet. The Banyankore will say, Ogrum Shuma, he is a thief, he has nothing to say. So I don't know how those people evolve those concepts. But please, here we should deal with our situation like we dealt with the issue of Zabroni. That's how the NRA was saved. Otherwise, we would have been finished. In Uganda, people would have lost confidence in us, and it would have been very difficult to recover. Because there we had a chance to show who we were, and we did it. And that's how the NRM was built up. So the NRM of today, please. First of all, I'm surprised that really people can dare what I hear, these ones. But who do those people think they are? We are going to smash them. We have the capacity. Now that they have attracted our, because me, I never concentrate on those things myself. But now that they don't listen, we advise, you have now attracted our attention, our full attention, you will see. We shall crush this treachery. This is really a betrayal, and we are going to finish it. Now, the borrowing. I'm glad the minister explained these newspapers with their radios, they create panic among you people. Debt, 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 debt. We actually had a very low debt level until Corona. Our debt GDP ratio before Corona was 30%. Very low. But some people pushed, and we found we had reached 40%. But I don't believe in borrowing. My view is that I don't believe in this borrowing. I believe in cutting our cloth according to our coat according to our cloth. And that's what we should be doing. Now, finally, the talk of external shocks. External shocks. Which ones now? That there was a war in Ukraine, and that you are importing wheat from Ukraine and Russia, and now you're going to die. Hey, but why don't you eat muhogo? You remember I said to you, why don't you eat muhogo? Why do you eat wheat in the first place? Me, I don't eat wheat. I don't eat rice. I have my foods. For the last 80 years, I have my foods. The only time I ate rice was when I was in Tanzania, fighting Yamin. So the external shocks, which ones now? Now, the only one we have is petroleum. That one we are still importing from outside. Very soon we shall have our own petroleum. So therefore, let's concentrate on our strength and stop all this diversion. With these few words, I congratulate the Minister of Finance. He has done it now very well. I have nothing useful to add. And I thank the Speaker for presiding over the meeting and all of you for coming. Thank you very much.